Welcome to day 2 of the College Championships. This week, 8 of the top collegiate teams in North America gather on the LCS stage to battle for a shot at the championship title. Yesterday, we welcomed 4 teams to the stage and 2 were sent home. Today, the second half of the top 8 will leave it all on Summoner's Rift. In our first match, it's Western Conference champions and hometown heroes from the University of California, Irvine. They are challenged by the Canadians from the Eastern Conference, University of Ottawa. Also looking to claim the championship for Canada and the Eastern Conference, the University of Western Ontario. And returning to the College Championships, 2-time BTN champions, University of Maryland. Good luck to all our competitors. Day 2 starts right now.
I haven't fully grasped that I'm in, LA at the NALCS studios playing League of Legends.
It's a huge honor to represent not only our school, but in a way Canada.
I didn't think I could take a team this far.
We have 3 former pros, me, Young Ben, and Latman.
There's probably a reason they're ex-pro players, so we're not really too worried.
There's not much you need to know about Ottawa because they are not that strong of an opponent.
We've played scrims against all of these guys. We've taken games off all of these guys. If we beat these guys, we have a really good shot to win the whole thing.
I always feel really confident in whatever I do, since if you're not confident, then why bother?
It's not going to matter who we play in the semis if we don't get through the first round, and that's what's most important.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
I already think that I'm gonna win, and I already think that the trophy is mine.
I want to bring back the cup, obviously.
It would mean the world if we won the entire thing.
We're ready to start dominating for years to come.
Of course I'm excited.
Hello, League fans, and welcome to day 2 of the 2018 League of Legends College Championship presented by State Farm. I'm Julian Patrick-Tamka, and putting on his best frat boy impression with me is Isaac Azael Cummings-Bentley.
I'll do my best, but I make no promises.
Well, for those of you who missed Zyrene's 101 class yesterday on the College Championship, Azael took some notes for you to review.
Yep, the teams you see today have been battling for over 5 months in online tournament, grouped into regional conferences, North, South, East, West, along with the Big Ten Network and the Peach Belt. Over 300 schools ranging in support from varsity esports programs to grassroots student-run clubs competed in the tournament. And by the end of the today, we'll be down to our final 4.
And we did see our first day of competition yesterday, and it started off with a bang as the 8th seed, University of Illinois, upset the 1st seed and defending champions, Maryville.
Yeah, it's pretty insane to see that last year's champions already knocked out and in a clean 2-0. This was, not as close of a series as people were expecting. It was supposed to be the other side dominating, but Zeno, really have to give him a lot of credit. Super impressive performance on Talia, standing out, being able to move around the map, play incredibly well, and then bringing out the Aurelia in game 2 mid lane, also being very, very effective on that. And also have to give a shout out to Korean Danny, who was looking really good on his Kaisa. But really, when you have an upset this big, it's not just about one player. It's not just about two players. It's about the whole team coming together and really performing at a higher level.
And Colombia, of course, they were the lower seed, but a favorite for the tournament, you have to think, as well, as they did get things going. The powerhouse team out of Columbia College, like we said, took a swift victory over Dallas.
Yeah, they were the lower seed, as you said, but they're a favorite coming into the tournament because of how dominant they were during the regular season. They had an incredibly strong run, and with Illinois advancing and UT Dallas out, the Southern Conference have now lost their auto berth into the top 8 next year, and that means it's going to go over to the Big Ten Network. So similar to the seeding with MSI and Worlds, and NA knows all about losing that. So we got some experience.
Certainly, and again, this is, the big thing is 8 teams playing for the college championship is where you want to be. So getting a berth in there, certainly a much better thing. Teams will have to battle it out in the qualifiers. And all of that resulted in our first semifinal match, which is taking place at noon tomorrow, where Illinois will hope to pull off another upset against Columbia College. Now, though, what's left to be seen is who's going to fill out the other side of that bracket, starting with our first match today, which pits UC Irvine versus the University of Ottawa, followed by the University of Western Ontario going against the University of Maryland. So 2 best of 3s, Isaac, to move things through. We're going to our first matchup by meeting the players. Starting game 1 on the blue side, it is the University of Ottawa. In the top lane, Jokin. In the jungle, Zeri. Mid backpacks, bot Psionics. Their support, Lotus and Coach Freezy.
And selecting the red side today, it's their opponents, UCI. In the top lane, Captain Nuke. In the jungle, Youngbin. Mid lane, Desperton. Bot and support going to be Latman and Bloodwater with Coachman, who clearly has the best name in the tournament.
Knows exactly what's going on there. Well, for today's first matchup, I do want to assure the viewers that your ears did not deceive you. That is, in fact, the Youngbin returning to this very LCS stage for University of Irvine.
Having his college paid by Steve, and after a brief stint with TL, he did swap over to jungle for the team. He was a former AD carry for Team Liquid and a TLA mid laner. UCI did miss out on getting the top 8 in last year, largely because Youngbin actually was pulled up to play for TLA and eventually Team Liquid. And if that wasn't enough LCS experience, they have a double former pro bottom lane and Worlds 13 participant and former Vulcan support, Bloodwater, also making his return, but that was a while ago. That was 2013. I was playing pro more recently than that.
Well, we'll see if he's still sharpened those skills, as well the players from UC Irvine literally traveled up the road for this very tournament. The players from the University of Ottawa have traveled the farthest of any team to participate today, or from some frozen wasteland called Canada.
I've heard it's a pretty good place. But this grassroots esports club organized on their own and competed from the bottom to earn this spot. This is a group of STEM students that have a massive workload and not only managed to practice till 2 a.m. before their 8 a.m. classes, but 2 of the players, Zeri and Psionics, both got Challenger throughout the season. And despite coming up short in the Eastern Finals to Western Ontario, the team maintains that with their semester complete, they're going to be a real threat because now they can dedicate all their time into practicing and really trying to improve. And this is some top-level players on the ladder as well.
Certainly good that they have some free time. Unfortunately, UC Irvine are in finals week right now. Actually, Captain Nuke took one yesterday, I believe. So he's
Let's
back.
hope he passed.
Hopefully, and of course wants to pass here as well. Only one team can make it through 2 best of 3s to move today, as they're going to get into the top 4 of the tournament. Like you said, I think for Irvine, very confident. For the boys from Ottawa, Canada has had some great representation in the college program, but maybe not quite the support they want. And maybe this 3rd win with UBC already winning too is the thing they need for the schools to start paying that attention.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's one of the things these players are really going to be hoping for, right? That you have a good performance here, your school takes note, and you can kind of build up that support from your university, from your college to get an even better program going. And while on paper, you have to say UCI is definitely the favorite, is the 2 seed versus the 7 seed. The 8th seed just upset the 1 seed yesterday. You know, the seeding has not really been indicative of strength thus far, so it could be anyone's series, and it's going to come down to how these players can perform on this stage, because as we said, there's been an immense amount of competition. We know these are very high-level players, but most of the competition was all done online. You are now live in the NALCS studio on stage with thousands of people watching online. There's a lot of added pressure, and sometimes players don't perform as well as they do at home.
Certainly not. Over 300 teams competed this season of college. There's 6 different conferences, and now just these 2 teams with one of 2 slots left.
And you've got to say, the college scene has been getting better and better and better. The first college championship the top 8 had plat players in it. This time it's so many Masters and Challenger players. The lowest you get is really near the top of Diamond, so the level is kind of going up and up and up, and it's very exciting to see. A lot of these guys have already kind of flirted with the academy scene or been through scouting grounds. Some of them have even gone pro. So really to see this developing and becoming more of that kind of pipeline to the semi-pro scene. You get into an academy team if you're a top university player, and then if you're a top academy player, you can get into the LCS, and that is really how you grow a sport.
Have to agree, as bans are almost done for phase 1. Skana, Kai'Sa, and Rakan banned away by Ottawa, with Irvine taking Zoe, Trundle, and Talia off the board. So kind of saw a lot of these different power picks yesterday in some of our series. Well, we'll see what the first pick is here for Ottawa.
And this is not on live, this is on 8.9 because more similar to whether they are competing online, so you want to be having these players as comfortable as possible, playing at their very best. But Aurelia, we have seen Aurelia top, we have seen Aurelia mid, extremely strong pick ever since the update. A lot of players really have been picking it up, and going to be pretty interesting to see where it does go.
First pick Vlad here though. See if, again, that goes either mid or top. Certainly some flexibility there as well. And Youngbin, we mentioned, does have quite a lot of Academy and LCS experience, but he was a mid laner and a AD carry before then, now into the jungle. Plays third role at a high-level competition.
It is very interesting to me to see that Vladimir picked up this early, though, because Vladimir traditionally can really struggle into an Aurelia in that matchup. Aurelia can be one of the champions that can really punish the weak early game of Vladimir, who generally needs to get some levels, to get some CDR. People talk a lot about getting level 9, so you can have the max rank of your transfusion on Vladimir to really start kind of gaining some power. And if this were to be a mid lane matchup, Aurelia with Ignite certainly has solo kill potential on a Vladimir.
Took Ezreal though on the other side for the bot lane. You have to assume there for Latman, as Graves also locked in for Ottawa. A marksman, but into the jungle there for Zeri and Braum actually to round this out very quickly for the first 3 picks.
And Zeri, you may know him better as Harry Abs. He's a guy who's been around in the Challenger scene for a long time. Definitely would have seen him on a lot of Challenger streams if you like to watch that. And I believe he was a streamer himself for a while, may still be. But either way, is going to be locking in the Graves. And I got to talk to him a little bit earlier today. Definitely a very confident player, has a lot of faith in his team's ability to play well, in his own ability to play well, and in the fact that they could take down a favorite like UCI. And giving him Graves, giving him a power farmer is certainly giving him the opportunity to try to take over a game.
Has an experienced opponent matching up against, of course, with Youngman, who will take Zac into the jungle as we'll move into the next phase of bans. Varus now taken away, so Psionics will be denied that pick.
Do have to remember, though, while Young Bin is a former pro, he has been swapping around in a lot of different roles, right? So Zeri, has been almost exclusively a jungler, so he should have more experience in that role. Young Bin has had his time as a mid laner, time as an AD carry, now swapping over to the jungle, and I'm sure he is going to be very proficient there as well. But that may be an area that Ottawa, if they were to get an edge, could get one.
Yeah, and with a champion like Graves, certainly can look to get in early and get aggressive, as On is going to be banned away from the top lane there, so perhaps suspecting Vlad in the mid. Caitlyn on the other side, so continuing the marksman bans here for UCI. And we'll see what the final ban of this first game is.
It could be very interesting. You could just look to see them, if they are thinking it is going to be, more of that mid lane Vlad, they could look to take out another top lane pick here. Support also still has not been selected, so there's opportunities to kind of focus down on that, and it is going to be a Morgana takeaway from Bloodwater, despite the fact that Caitlyn is gone, and that is usually where people love to kind of pair up with Morgana. Still a very versatile pick and a strong one into Braum, so it does make quite a lot of sense.
Yeah, we'll see what the first pick in phase 2 here is actually going to be Janna there for Bloodwater. He is awfully famous on that champion. He stole a Baron in the LCS during his tenure there, so certainly one he knows well.
Yeah, definitely the case, and it's going to be very strong, I think, especially into the diving, champions like the Aurelia. It's already pretty difficult for Aurelia to actually get onto and stick onto an AD carrier like Ezreal because he is so mobile, and then when you have the disengage, if you can actually tornado Aurelia out of some of those dashes, the ultimate to push them back as well can be very strong. That being said, Janna doesn't always have the strongest laning phase, so could be something they look to exploit. But if this is a blind Malphite, I am expecting it to be the Malphite top, Aurelia mid, and you are pretty low on magic damage, so that is one concern for the Ottawa University comp here. Malphite really being your only kind of source of magic damage isn't going to be very much. You're expecting him to build full tank, and that does mean that Ninja Tabbies become extremely effective when you have 3 auto attackers on the team. And with a Singed and a Zac, that is going to be very difficult for these guys to actually be able to punch through. Both of them I'm expecting to be stacking armor very heavily, and that can put a little bit of a timer sometimes on a composition like this. If you allow Ezreal to scale up, building things like the Iceborne Gauntlet, seeing the Zhonya's and the Tabbies coming through and things like this for the Vladimir, and then full armor stacking on the top and jungle, Ottawa may have a lot of trouble really punching through it and getting that damage done.
Seems like pretty safe bot lane here for UCI, and a very robust top half of the map with the Singed finishing off Zac plus Vlad. I mean, again, we look at the Graves to maybe get aggressive, can set up plays with Aurelia and the Malphite, and especially a support like Braum can get things started early. So I think you're right in that there is a sense, certainly, of a timer in this game, and we'll see if Ottawa can kind of punch through for another upset and really get a lead early. Because if you can snowball this game, I mean, just no matter the odds, I feel like every game, if you get early snowball, is extremely winnable, because it only takes a few plays to build the confidence, to build momentum for your team, and you can just start running over your opponent. But UCI, very practiced, very experienced, have one of the best programs in collegiate as well. They always rave about their esports stuff at their school, so gonna have to put it to the test here, as they've taken some pretty safe stuff, I have to say, into this game one, kind of maybe thinking they're the better team and not wanting to make too many mistakes and just play the game out nice and slowly.
Definitely the case, and for the side of Ottawa, I think they do need to push the pace, and if you're looking for an area that they can do that, I do think playing around your mid-jungle duo is going to be very strong. You're expecting Aurelia to have the early advantage against this Vladimir, especially with Aurelia bringing Ignite. You're expecting Graves to have the early advantage against the Zac as well. So if you can try to snowball that lane, if you can utilize your mid lane advantage to start taking away some camps, that is a way for them to get a lead. Whereas UCI, I think, is going to be very happy playing a passive, safe, scaling game. If nothing is happening and they're just farming evenly, UCI is certainly going to be looking like they have a big advantage.
Well, teams are spreading out now, so we have a quick check-in with the Keystones. Nothing too crazy. I mean, comment for Jokin, a bit more aggressive perhaps in his 1v1, but I do like Predator on Discraton. We had mentioned the patches 8.9, not too many changes here and there, but Unsealed Spoilbuck was one that took quite a hit and had a pretty big overhaul. So Vlad, opting out of that tree with a teleport not being as reliable. Kind of fun to see Predator. Certainly a more aggressive initiation-centric option.
Flatman already got a sly sack of gold, so UCI...
All right, it's all over. Zeri getting aggressive, really just putting the screws in onto Youngbin. Captain Nuke gonna have to come down, but Graves is forward only. Got Braum and Aurelia behind him. Youngbin actually gonna keep moving. Again gets second. Oh no, he saves the passive and barely lives through the Synth Poison. But now the Vlad gonna face check Lotus, who is gonna get that first stun down. Probably doesn't have pulled level. Could be a kill here. That's gonna force a flash. Ignite also burnt there to try and get the kill.
Pretty crazy level 1, but all things being said, I think that UO may have come out a little bit ahead simply because Graves has such a healthy clear, and he is playing Fleet Footwork, so he actually didn't have to go back to base, and he can clear the jungle kind of more easily, whereas Youngbin is going to have to do a leashless buff, level 1, had to go back to base, so he is going to be put a decent amount behind, and it was the trade of flashes, one Ignite down, so Summoner advantage is on UCI's side, but I still do favor the play, I think, for Ottawa, simply because of the jungle clear speed.
Yeah, we said they have to get aggressive, so certainly a good start in that department. As Captain Nuke back to the top side, but Wave kind of in a funky spot. You're happy to just sit back here.
I mean, this is not going to be a fun lane for Malphite whatsoever. It's one of those lanes where, yes, Malphite can always get out on the map and make plays and have use in teamfight as far as, having your ultimate, but it's hard to get to do that when you're always under your turret, and that's where Singed has a tank like Malphite. You generally are stuck under your turret almost the whole time. Even if he's not going to proxy, it's not someone that you can really duel out and actually win against because Singed has such superior pushing power, so that is certainly a really tough matchup for Jokin, and we're going to have to see how he's going to be able to handle it and how Captain Nuke is really going to be able to kind of get his pressure going from the top lane if he's going to be starting to proxy and trying to affect other lanes and other spots on the map.
Yep, already roamed down after pushing away with that priority, moved down and got a ward in the jungle, so has seen 2 camps cleared, so should have a very good idea that Zeri is on this side. Although he's just going to get some vision on his own and now take the right side Scuttle just to give his bot lane a little bit more protection. Nice stun. Back in onto Discraton. Vladimir still charging up that Q, but takes a long time in these early levels.
Exactly, and that is why this is considered an advantageous matchup early on for Vladimir, because the cooldowns are for Aurelia rather, into Vladimir, because the cooldowns are so long for Vladimir. that you can simply just dash onto him and just continually auto-attack him. And Vladimir doesn't really have much of an opportunity to fight back. And you can see Descraton is certainly worried about the potential to go down, so he's going to go back early, pick up his Predator boots, and just playing this pretty passively, pretty safe, because he knows that if they can scale up, they're going to be really strong.
So far, so good though for Backpack there in the mid lane, so we'll keep an eye in on that one. Bot side right now, again, the ex-pro duo of Alatman and Bloodwater with the Ezreal Janna pushing in right now, but farm is nice and even, so probably see not too much without jungle intervention here.
Yeah, and while Janna isn't really like a dominating lane support, it is still into a melee support here, and you can kind of poke them out. And this is a very passive lane from UCI. Ezreal with TP plus Janna, you're not really looking to kill, you're looking to just farm it out, and here's that focus mid lane.
Get a bit more here. Smoke screen does go down, but just some love taps there from Zeri. Wave was in a great spot from Backpack, holding it after forcing Bladder early, but Psionic's now going to get knocked up, actually. Good block there from Lotus as Latman tries to lay the skill shots in, and the Wave's going to crash on the turret. We'll see how many they can pick up here.
Yeah, but this is really good for UCI. I mean, if they can continually have this lane push forward, if they can continue that pressure, be forcing University of Ottawa to actually respond on the bottom side, it's going to be pretty nice for them, because they're going to be that kind of pressure valve, drawing attention down there, disengaging, utilizing the TP to get that early tier, and just trying not to so much go for the kills, but more for just pressure on the turret.
Another pull forced out though in mid lane. Backpack continuing to line up stuns and force Vladimir kind of back into bad spots. Has a very strong CS lead right now, but Wave is kind of building back up and pushing, so we'll see if Backpack can hold this once the waves reverse.
Yeah, and I think we're just going to see Backpack push this out, go back to base, probably pick up a Sheen, and that is more normally where you can actually start to see some of those kills if they were to come happen. That early power spike with the Sheen does give you a lot of all-in potential, does give you a lot of ability to play aggressively. When you hit 6, you have Ignite, you have the Sheen procs, can be pretty strong, and we'll see if he's going to look to pick that up.
Refills his pot, waiting for a little bit of extra gold, but does have the Sheen, as you suspected.
Makes a lot of sense. And across the map, things pretty even. Besides that, Lightman has gone back, and because they had the wave pressure, he didn't actually even need to use his TP, so he gets a very early tier. He can start that stacking, and things are going to be looking really good for UCI on the bottom side of the map because of that. For Psionics, he did get his base off, but it's a call field, so he wasn't actually able to kind of hang around long enough to get a BF for it, which is not usually the base you want, but it's fine.
Yep, I mean right now, as far as gold goes, seems just fine as Youngbin is looking into the mid lane for Backpack. Slingshot going to go out, but ooh, actually does get the knockback through, but again, nice stun lined up. Another pull forced out, and Zeri also there for the counter gank, so no harm, no foul there, but Youngbin with a nice easy bit of pressure.
Yeah, exactly. May as well go for a little chance there. It's very unlikely that you're going to be able to kill him until Vlad is 6, which he is now. But that being said, it's just relieving pressure. Again, it's about delaying for them. They don't have to get killed. They just need to really buy time. And Zeri's looking to just straight up fight this.
Yeah, another jungle battle. Actually, only level 5. Doesn't even have his ult, but still laying in enough damage to force Vladimir away. Looks like Bot was also roaming up. And of course, Backpack quite strong. So nice little play there as Zeri, again, trying to really put that early Grace pressure on as often as he can.
Yeah, and he's doing a good job as far as, putting out that pressure, but Zach is getting levels, the Vladimir is getting levels, there's no really significant gold lead, so University of Ottawa is likely going to need to get more, or really try to hope to get more out of this early game, but it's a very passive game so far. Both teams are playing it pretty much according to plan, pretty much how you would expect. It's just going to be a matter of execution. Can Ottawa actually find something?
Ooh, again, Lightman trying to get jumped on, but here comes the Zach to try and turn it back around. Bloodwater low. First blood still on the table. There's Youngbin again. Finds that Q very long range, but Lotus actually just going to turn it back around. Still the flash. Oh, moves it back in. A beautiful play from Youngbin, but the fight maybe still going. Psionic's going to go down as well. Sticks around to try and help his team.
Oh, that level up from Youngbin was so big. He got 6 off a creep there. Not sure if that was planned or not, but he flies in. The creep dies. He hits 6, is able to flash forward and ult to pull them back. And UCI gets a double kill there. And they're going to be able to pressure the turret, look to take away a buff. This is really big for them in the early stages.
Also got Jokin's TP, who tried to come down to help, but it was too late at that point. So red buff invade should be completed here as Nuke maybe going to face check a jungler. Does flip him back over. They're going to chase him down. Pops the red smite down. Might be looking for a kill. Captain Nuke maybe rethinking his situation. Good flash though, and Zeri I think knows he maybe can't chase or just can't find the Singed.
Zeri could actually head to topside and look to pressure the turret a little bit, but they are just going to use that to reset. Either way, he is exerting that early game pressure, but just not resorting to kills. And back here to the bot side, University of Ottawa trying to go aggressive, but Lotus not able to find the Q onto Latman, and Youngbin comes in. Here's the level 6, right off of this last creep that just died over by the cannon. Gets 6 flash forward, pulls both back in there. That should have been a Psionics flash. He needed to actually avoid that ultimate to survive, but instead, 2 kills go over to UCI.
Yep, really nicely played there from the experienced jungler on the Irvine side. As back in mid lane, looks like Discraton's gone back and upgraded his boots to CDR, and right now is having a very fine time in the lane. He's getting levels, he's evening up the farm, and that was kind of where we thought the early advantage would come from, but
yeah, I mean, he played it very safely. He never really gave Backpack very many opportunities to actually find those all-ins. If he ever got low, he simply said, okay, I'll give him a couple of farm, I'll go back to base. And just really playing it to get experience, to kind of minimize loss. And now he's in a spot where he's sitting at level 7 and looking pretty good.
Well, we'll see if University of Ottawa can kind of find their footing here in the early game still. Gold lead is nice, 1,000 up there for UCI, but certainly not too large at the moment. Looks like ultimates are also starting to get picked up across the rifts, so some of those level discrepancies that were happening in a lot of the early exchanges are now somewhat rebalanced.
It does get a little tough, though, for Ottawa with their bottom lane, both dying, with the TP being expended from Jokin. It's very hard to even make any plays around this now. The turret is kind of starting to get chipped. You can look to see that even increase more because Captain Nuke has TP advantage. So if Ottawa tries to look for any plays, they're going to get teleported on. It's going to get turned around, and that is something that they're always going to have to be aware of, which just means, well, you have to sit back further, you have to give up more, and that kind of just increases the edge that UCI has been building for themselves.
Well, certainly, again, credit to Youngbin. We'll see if he stays aggressive on the map and looks to make even more plays. But like you said, the kind of natural advantage that UCI have built up off that early strong play should be able to ride for at least the next few minutes as those cooldowns replenish, and maybe something like Dragon moves onto the table. And again, I still, for me, on Zeri, on the Graves, willing to get aggressive and flash forward. We'll see if he can continue to go as mid lane is looking for something here. Zeri again moves back in, needs to force the pull, does burn the ult, and pulls out for a bit of extra healing, but the ult is good, and Zeri finds the first one.
Finally able to convert on all that mid lane pressure, and not even having to actually commit any of their summoners, still being able to hold on to the Aurelia ultimate, so potential to repeat there, but Youngbin just looking to come in and clear this out.
Might be a little too far forward. Still has his passive actually from all of the early action, but it looks like he's enough here just on his own to clear out the creep wave and let Vladimir get back safely.
Yeah, being able to just clear that out. Still, again, he is up in experience, which is a really big thing for that Zach. Another champion that really wants time to scale, wants to hit that level 9, and you can see Zach, Vladimir both sitting at level 8, so things are going pretty well for them there. But University of Ottawa are on the board, and Zeri finally able to convert on all that pressure he's been putting out.
Again, let's keep it all up. Backpack looking for a stun, doesn't quite land it, but no latch there after the stretching strike from Zach. Will leave the Aurelia safe. He should be pretty close to Trinity Force. Still needs a few hundred gold to finish it all off, but again, can maybe look to use that Aurelia ult to use that first big item power spike to get a few more things going as Backpack does go back for just a couple daggers. So close, but not quite there, and it is a big difference for Trinity Force.
Definitely is. And I'm going to be really interested to also see when they actually try to pull the trigger and look for some of these fights, because when you think about Malphite and and Zaya and all these champions, they do have very strong level 1s. Youngbin, unstoppable during that ultimate channel, so nice try by Lotus, but not actually able to interrupt that channel once it's begun. So just a little bit late on the trigger there.
Yep, just a trade pretty much. Both ultis burnt from support and jungle. Backpack back in. No big charge building up there for Discraton, but Backpack not chasing any further forward.
Yeah, he really wants Descraton to actually use the pool before he goes for the ultimate. That's what the kind of game is. If Vladimir uses the pool at the wrong time, you're going to see Aurelia commit to a full on-lane. You're going to see the Ignite. You're going to see the ultimate going down, but Descraton, knows the limits of his champion, knows how much damage is coming out, and at this point is able to kind of just play it pretty passively and simply back off.
Yep, shakes off the damage, clears out the wave, and then recuperates a bit of
into
extra
a
help.
couple.
Oh, Youngbin found some friends there. He didn't really invite to his party. Looks like Raptor Camp is going to go over. Flash burnt as well by the Zac, so a bit of pressure there from Ottawa.
And that may mean the red as well. You can see Youngbin knows his red is going to be gone, so he's actually heading straight down to Zeri's red, trying to just trade that back. Still, they at least get the summoner. They get something out of that. We may see Zeri trying to actually run straight down and stop that himself, but instead, I think he's just going to try to pressure Vladimir again.
Yep, runs to mid lane, back again. Oh, lands the ulti! Barely finds it, but pulls under it. Today I learned, but it's still going back in. Ignite down, flash forward. Backpack chasing for the kill. The Gravesword is good.
Oh,
the
so
Ignite still
close.
ticking down, but he gets held back with a Hemo play. He fishes for a stun, but does not find it, and Vladimir gets away.
And that is 3 summoners committed there from Ottawa, and only the flash really used. Videskraton had a very good pool. You know, the ultimate was committed before the pool was used from Vladimir, and they couldn't finish it off. And now, as expected, the bottom lane being pressured, they had the TP disadvantage. They lost those early kills, and this means they're shoved in nonstop. This means that turret is getting chipped down, and the University of Ottawa is either going to have to make a play around this bottom lane or simply concede the turret.
I mean, have tools to do so. I think Jokin's TP is back up. He finished his first item in that banner of command, so he can get the way pushing back in the right direction, find some of that pressure. I think you're right in that there is a good timing window here for them to make a play, but we'll see if UCI can kind of sniff that out and try and stifle it as best they can.
And Captain Nuke is just being so annoying with this. He's proxying, he's not actually allowing Jokin to really have any freedom in the lane. This is what you want to do against a champion like Malphite. Malphite wants to make plays. Malphite wants to be team fighting, using his ultimate on cooldown, getting things done on the map, and when he's sitting under his turret and there's 4 dematerializer charges saved, what is he supposed to do? Even if you throw down the banner, it's going to be quite some time before that's really having any effect.
Yep, and in that case, Captain Nuke proxied the poor cannon minion before it even got a chance. Oh,
get caught.
Does find Nuke here. Derry going in, a little bit level disadvantage, but Graves with the damage should be okay.
Has ult.
Get an arc there's Jokin. Oh,
Nice
what a
flash.
flash from the Singe. He's going to dodge the stun as well, and that's it. Play's over.
That was a beautiful flash here from Nuke. He needed to avoid the Malphite ulti, and again, they get away, and Youngman on the bottom side.
Nice ult this time from
That's
Lotus.
turret.
Yeah, the turret is going to go down though, so a consolation prize is your life in this case, but the first turret gold will go over to UCI.
Yep, slowly but surely, just working them down, pushing them in, and whittling out these advantages. UCI is playing this grinded out style very, very well.
And again, credit to Nuke for dodging all of that, drawing the pressure in on the collapse and giving them the space to take down the turret. But of course, this Drake as well. It will be a trade by the looks of things as Zeri has started up the Rift Herald. But again, UCI ahead on the play, ahead on gold, continuing to find themselves further ahead.
Exactly. They want to play this style, right? They want to play a relatively slow game. They're the ones actually building advantages despite that. And here it is. Zeri actually spots out Captain Nuke, but he flips him over. He has the speed up. Nice flash. That was so close to hitting. And if Backpack is able to land the stun, he probably gets the kill. Backpack also didn't have his ultimate because it was expended on the earlier all-in on the Vladimir, so when that stun misses, there's no real chance to follow it up and get that finish.
Yeah, well played there again as UCI holds still about 2,500 gold in the lead. Still that TP up for both top laners actually. Jokin and Captain Nuke are ready as looks like the transfer here, duo are going to move up towards the top side for UCI, but read out well by Ottawa. They are going to move their duo into that spot as well, but we already mentioned that the bot lane advantage is there with that Trinity Force finish for Ezreal, despite being matched by the Reaver. So again, you have to think plan is still the same here.
It is, yeah. Just push it in, whittle down that turret. Sinch has already done a lot of that work because when you are proxying, you can't, in the early game, actually afford to just hold all the minion damage because Sinch will just come back and add to that, and you're going to get pushed out. So you have to allow your turret as a top lane tank to actually tank up that minion damage while you clear out the minions. And that means that Malphite's turret is already very low before the lane swap even happens. So 1 or 2 waves, and Latman could probably take this down. You know, Lotus doing his best, throwing up the Unbreakable and trying to delay this, but Latman certainly can look to get autos in here or there.
Yeah, again, plenty of good items early. Pickaxe plus Trinity Force means every bit of poke matters, especially with the Janna Shield behind him. Zeri still trying to clear out this vision, find a good spot for the Rift Herald that he now is holding. But Jokin also recognizing that with a long lane has to play back. Captain Nuke just doing what he loves best, which is apparently kill minions and hit the laugh key. Ooh, Youngman gonna find the play here. Psyonix looking to get Chain CC'd up, finds a creep to tag him too. Gets the ulti, but Psyonix just gonna dance around it, back on top. And now Jokin actually here for the play, but it's a 3v3 as both top lanes TP in. UCI here first, take down Zeri in the rotation. Psyonix finds the ultimate, but it's kind of the wrong way with the Feathers. The passive finally gonna pop there for Youngman. Jokin pops out of the way. Lotus goes down with Backpack, gonna try and make something massive happen, but a 4v1, actually 1v5 as Youngman comes back out of the passive is not what the doctor ordered. Instead, UCI will find the teamfight win and turret number 2.
Yeah, UCI totally dominating that fight. Youngbin had snuck into the bush earlier, able to buy so much time because he's so tanky at this point in the game, and the team collapses faster. They're the ones who get the kills. It is the 2 for 0, plus the turret, and they get wave control on that top side. So University of Ottawa falling even more behind.
The lead continues to tick up here, so take a look at this play again. Youngbin just so sneaky in this piece of brush.
Yeah, Psyonix really just not expecting that whatsoever. Very little time for him to react, and on the bottom side, Zeri was trying to come up, but he just gets collapsed on. Predator Vladimir coming in behind you. He's getting burst down, and yes, Youngbin is being focused, and he goes down, but that's still a Zac with passive available. And that's most of your abilities actually expended. By the time Backpack is here, there's no chance to really engage in this fight because everyone is still alive, everyone is still healthy.
Even without passive, UCI would have happily taken that situation. So Youngbin doesn't even add a death to the column in the middle. Instead, loses his passive, and UCI continue to keep the ball rolling.
And the armor is starting to come in. I talked about how efficient that is going to be against this University of Ottawa team. You can already see Ninja Tabbies on Ezreal, on Youngbin, on Captain Nuke, and they're going to be starting to build up more and more armor. You have to expect it. That is going to be extremely efficient. Even Deskerton working towards that second item, Zonia's, not electing to go for any more damage-oriented items, simply because it's so incredibly efficient. I will say I'm a little bit surprised that Latman didn't go for the Ice Board and instead went for the Triforce, just because I think it's so efficient against this team. But when you have a Janna in your back pocket, you may feel confident enough that you're not going to go down regardless. And if that's the case, that's a totally justifiable situation where you're just going to simply get more damage.
Yeah, it feels like, hey, and they had enough of the fight. Already going to break out. Nice work from Lotus. They're going to be forced away. The Rift Trail, though, not having too much fun in the middle of this team fight, does go down. Timer must have been running low there on Zeri's Herald.
Yeah, and that was one of the only things kind of working for Ottawa in this game was the fact they still had the Rift Herald, could have looked for a play, try to knock down a couple turrets, maybe catch back up in gold. Unfortunately for them, UCI shuts that down very, very well. And the TP coming out from Latman, so he's going to be right back out to start clearing these waves again.
Yep. Lose any farming efficiency as the siege starts, but again, Youngbin trying to lock a few together, has Lotus in the ulti, he's going to move him back towards it, but now the dive comes in. Murphy's going to find a carry in the backside, it's the Janna, excuse me, as Bloodwater does fall down. A nice squishy target, but not really much left to play for.
Janna carries the 80 carry, so it's basically the same thing. But they get a kill, and honestly, even though it looks funny, against teams like this, often focusing the support can actually be the right choice. If you're able to kill off the Janna instantly at the start of the fight, that's very, very effective. Because if you're going for the Ezreal, the Janna is going to disengage you with the ultimate. The Janna is going to have constant shields coming out, the tornadoes. And when you're playing these champions like Malphite and Irelia, who are really dependent on their first gap closer, if that gets pushed back, you often don't have a chance to really re-enter the fight. So that may be a way that University of Ottawa tries to combat this sort of team comp.
Can't see drill started here. Youngbin thought he found a big one, but UO just say, all right, if you're going to make us dive, we'll just dive.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a nice engage for UCI, but there's none of their soul laners are there, right? So this is a 5v3, so pulling it in was a little bit ambitious, maybe not expecting everyone to be there for the University of Ottawa, and as a result, can't kill off the Braum fast enough, so it is a kill, but not even the turret going down for UCI, so not really a significant change in the gold lead.
Yeah, and again, the no turrets currently taken there for Ottawa is going to cause continual problems here in this game. Mid lane still standing for both, so UCI looking there next, understandably, but as the map gets more constricted, it just feels so much tougher to do anything else.
Yeah, it definitely does. With that being said, there's a lot of standing gold on the map, that University of Ottawa could pick up if they can win a fight. And the combo that this team can pull off is very powerful, but Nuke likely just going to walk away. Very hard to chase.
Again.
Into Rylai's, plus the Shirelias for the speed up, plus the ultimate gives you a lot of move speed and also those resistances. But if they were to be able to win a fight, the combos are very powerful. If you can hit a big Malphite ult, you have the Braum ultimate to follow that up. You have the Irelia ultimate, which is AoE, throwing that out, catching multiple people. Graves ultimate is AoE. You have the Feathers, which is AoE. So there is the potential, if UCI mispositions, to get a bunch of kills. If you get a bunch of kills, you start picking up the turrets. All of a sudden, the gold lead closes. But UCI is trying to split the map. They're not trying to even give them that straight-up fight. They're looking to still just play it slow and bleed University of Ottawa out.
Yeah, about 3,500 gold ahead, so not quite there at 4K, but still a healthy lead as Nuke's antics once again with that flash. Happily able to trade away for the second Drake of the game that did go over to Irvine. So Singed, again, still creating all of this pressure for UCI as they continue to play the game out nice and methodically. Catch almost there onto Zeri, but no dice this time around.
I've got to say, Jokin's done a pretty good job of keeping it pretty much even, though. You know, was expecting him to start to fall more and more behind, as Malphites sometimes do in these sorts of matchups. But you know, Captain Nuke definitely has been a good pressure valve for UCI, has been getting that damage down on the turrets, has been drawing pressure and escaping those ganks. And that is something that is very, very frustrating to deal with, because as a jungler, it's hard to know what to do against this.
Predator Blight coming in again. Goodbye, Graves. Vladimir just burns the ulti and pops straight on with the burst. UCI do get locked up.
Singe is flanking here too.
All right, this could be bad news. Bears, Lotus trying to get away. Oh, good. Bit of a decent on the ground. He's going to root back into place. Lotus going to go down the flat. Onyx is going to try and catch him as well. The ult's not there, and Nuke picks up a kill. What a wipe there by UCI.
And that should be Baron. I mean, it's only 2 members alive. Backpack is very low, has no flash available. UCI going to go straight for the Baron. University of Ottawa hoping for a miracle play here, but it's tough to see how they come out on top of this fight.
The Straton again just zoning 2 out here. It's
Nuke
actually a 2v2 that they cannot win. Backpack burns the ulti, pops a W, just trying to stay alive for a little while longer, but Bloodwater steals the kill with a tornado. Aurelia does get the kill on the Synth, but Jokin can't make it into the pit. The Baron a little low, but Bloodwater going to replenish health there with a Monsoon. Jokin, no, already used it on the other side of the play. How could he possibly steal this Baron? Zeri
coming, but I just don't know that there's enough time.
He's
He is really close.
Dasher's got the ulti ready. He's going to have to go for it. Looked in for the Baron, going to try and get close. Tries to seal it away. Almost gets it low, but he can't grab it. It's Lightman that grabs the Baron. And it's tragedy there for Ottawa, but University of California Irvine make everything happen.
Yeah, they get it all there. They do secure the Baron. Both junglers barely missing this. Somebody went down to 65 HP, I saw, before Latman actually picking that up. But UCI, a monumental lead off of that one. They're so ahead across the board. You look at the item completions. That is a full item up now for Latman. Here is the fight one more time. Descraton flashing in. The Predator engage. Graves gone immediately, and it's just full retreat. You can see Jokin very behind the play, quite far across the map, and Captain Nuke just gets into the middle of everyone and completely wreaking havoc here. And Youngbin again finding those engages, finding the flash forward to pull Onyx back in. And not much of an opportunity from there. Oh my god, that was like 80% of his health.
Yeah, Onyx is wondering where his health bar went, and soon they'll wonder where the tower's gone as UCI make it 3-0 on the turret score. Very close to 10,000 gold ahead. And we talked about the gold being kind of close before. If you look at the standing gold on the map, now it is absolutely not close.
Yeah, it's getting pretty out of reach. It would take an incredible fight from University of Ottawa, plus some very big mistakes, I think, from UCI. You can see Latman, you know, instead of going for the double tier, has actually gone for a third item, Blade of the Rune King. To me, that says you're trying to close out the game now. You're looking for immediate power instead of, you know, the eventual scaling that could come out from that Seraphs, and I think it's the right choice. They're going 1-3-1, split the map. All this middle squad of 3 has to do is not get engaged on and die. That's really all there is to it. You push in both sides with your solos. If multiple people go to either of them, the other side pushes. If the 5-man tries to engage on your 3-man, Gianna disengages and the side lanes push. And that is really what UCI is trying to do, and it's a very difficult strategy to actually defeat from behind as University of Ottawa, because you need to find an immediate pick and blow them up instantly, then respond elsewhere. But it's very hard to do when you're so far behind in goal.
We talked about it before. The easiest target is John, but Bloodwater does have his flash available, so really just tough to pin down anyone on UCI. And again, using that movement very well. Going to take a couple turrets. Looking for a play on the bot side. Just going to try and get away. Might get a kill. He's going to get one. Might make it 2. Doesn't quite get it again. Shot down gold there for Backpack, but turrets are just starting to crumble.
Exactly, yeah, great. You killed Descraton, but he already got your inhibitor turret. He traded a kill. You lose 2 turrets in mid and top for that. This is just how it works. The individual members on the map are stronger for UCI, so you have to send more people for Ottawa, which gives opportunity for the rest of the map, if they're pressuring properly, to take down turrets. And UCI is playing, honestly, a beautiful macro game here. This is very, very high-level gameplay.
Very deliberate here. Feels like the game plan's been executed almost flawlessly for them, as Jokin did try and peek around the corner front ulti, but a very well-placed ward spotted that all out, and UCI decide with only 30 seconds left on the Baron buff, don't need to overplay. They go back, they spend their gold. They are well and truly more than 10,000 gold ahead, and now it's just a couple of inhibs and a Nexus to clean up for them.
Yeah, exactly. So much gold in your pockets after they knock down all those turrets with the Baron buff. They're going to go back, they're going to spend that up, they're going to look to secure another dragon here. Just kind of taking everything that's guaranteed on the map. You know there's an open inhibitor in the bottom side, so you can send down Desperton, you can send down Captain Nuke, and with the Baron buff gone, you could look to do even more of like a 4-1 type strategy, play a little bit more safety if they are at all worried about the chance of an engage from Ottawa.
Drake does go down. Captain Nuke holds onto his flash for this trade. In fact, not a trade at all, just too much control there for UCI, as Ottawa will give up yet another objective. And looks like, again, back to probably 1-3-1. We see Desperton hovering down towards the bot side, going to get that, moving back towards the inhibitor that he is now exposed after his last play. And Captain Nuke going exactly where you'd expect, straight back to the top lane with TP ready. So Ottawa grouped together, going to try and find something.
This is all they can do. They need to get immediate picks, then respond to the other lanes. And UCI should know this. One of the most important things about League is thinking not only about how you win, but how would your opponents win, and then kind of playing accordingly to that. For UCI, it's, well, how do we ever lose this game? Okay, we get caught, we get, engaged on very heavily, our other lanes aren't pushing. So UCI shouldn't push up very far on this side of the map until someone responds to Captain Nuke. Until someone shows up there, there could be 5 members, and you could have a disadvantageous fight on this side.
Yep, Zeri slapped into a ward as a big bit of poke there from Bloodhead's ulti, and now Youngman's like, yep, time to go in. Look at Zeri, another massive flank from the Vlad. Here comes Nuke, gonna try and chase it down. Hemo plagued in, flash, flip, Nuke takes down Psionics, and Backpack in the middle of the team dancing around, but just nothing left to do as Latman claims credit on the kill. Jokin now also getting chased down. It's almost an ace. Everything but the base alive as Jokin forced to burn his ult out of there. But UCI going to take down inhibs and very well could just take the game right here.
Yeah, Jokin survives. It's a moral victory, but that's about all Ottawa's going to get in game 1. UCI putting on a clinic. Beautiful macro play here from them. And they should close this one out. 30 minutes in.
Came to the tournament thinking it was theirs to take, and certainly making that statement ring a little more true after a very well-played game 1. First Nexus falls, and UCI are more than happy it's theirs.
Yeah, looking really, really good here in game 1. 3 former pros on their team, and they are looking on point, honestly.
I mean, kind of makes sense when you consider the experience that this team has, the talent on this roster. Certainly, as a second seed, maybe not the absolute favorite, but I think a big one to watch out for Ottawa. A lot of their plans seemed relatively good, but execution, and I think maybe more than anything, just UCI playing better than Ottawa necessarily playing badly.
Yeah, and Maryville's already out, right? So they're the highest seed remaining in the tournament, and definitely looking very good after game number 1. And I do agree. I think Ottawa played fairly well around what their win conditions were. You saw that Zeri, was focusing heavily on mid lane, trying to get Backpack ahead. That is really where their advantages lay. But I think that UCI just really knew what their opponents were trying to do. They drafted, more kind of wide win condition. This is a team that is going to outscale you in the late game. That is really going to be difficult to actually defeat in the late game, and they avoided the early pressure. They found really good engagements with the Youngbin, and they were able to consistently chip down turrets, get advantages, and get to the point where there wasn't much that Ottawa could do.
I mean, while there were certainly some individual highlights across the board for UCI, I think just the decision-making overall felt so strong. They knew that they could hold their 2-turret advantage and starve them out and kind of not let them get that gold. They knew, when to call the big fights, when the action should happen, and where to go. I mean, you said it, they played very clean, very safe standard League of Legends, but playing it well when you're under pressure, especially in a moment like this where the Baron barely stays alive to not get stolen.
I think Zeri actually smited Youngbin.
Oh no!
In that replay, I think
he actually betrayed by the red smite.
Oh, the replay may have shown me that. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what it looked like. It looked like his smite actually hit Youngbin. I don't know if it would have been at a time to get the Baron. Either way, I think even if you steal the Baron, probably doesn't change this game. They were very far behind, but it is a pleasure to watch collegiate play as an analyst and say, hey, this is how the team should play with this comp. This is what I expect to see. And we pretty much got exactly that, right? The teams played very heavily to their win conditions. One team was able to achieve that. And I think that's very impressive because often people think of these semi-pro levels or the collegiate level and think that these teams are nowhere close to the pros. And this is really a game that showed us these guys know how to play out, at a very high level. It's not just brawling, it's not just fighting, it's playing a smart, well-composed macro game.
Yeah, we saw good 1-3-1, we saw good 4-1, we saw that yesterday as well in a lot of the kind of sweeps that we have had. So UCI very much poised. I mean, they can see the finals already. They know they do have to take it one game at a time, but at this point, like you said, with the first seed out, they came in already before that happened, thinking it was their tournament. Making a pretty good case that that's true here at this point.
Yeah, definitely the case. And on the side of Ottawa, as far as changes, I would like to see them make. It is tough when, though I think they played to their win conditions, pressuring around mid lane. That was only the real lane that I felt they had any chance of pressuring. And when it is so obvious to your opponents what you have to do to win, it's very easy to kind of stop that and to try to counter that, right? When you have a lane that's going to be pushed in bottom by TP, Ezreal, and Jana, that's very hard for a Graves to ever gank. When you're looking at the top lane, what is the Malphite really going to be able to do against the Singe? So I feel like when you draft yourself into a losing lanes and then also are over-indexing on physical damage, you're giving yourself a very narrow win condition. So I'd like to see them kind of draft a more well-rounded comp.
Well, we'll see if the battle plans do change. We're headed for a break, but when we come back, the College Championship continues with Game 2 between UCI and the University of Ottawa.
The camera's on me. Go to the next one. That's fine.
Click directly into it.
Oh, that one.
Get with the desk there, Kenny. You know you do it.
There's Youngbin again, finds the Q very long range, but Lotus actually just going to turn it back around. Still the flash, moves it back in. A beautiful play from Youngbin.
Kill. I'm coming to you. Yo, I need help. He's dead.
I got you.
Good. Help.
Good. Bit of a decent on the ground. He's going to root back into place. Lotus going to go down the flash. Onyx is going to try and catch him as well. The ult's not there, and Nuke picks up a kill.
Kill Grace. Nice.
Good job. Let's go. Oh my god.
Holy, where was the smite?
I'm sorry.
Time to go in. Look at this area. Another massive flank from the Vlad. Here comes Nuke, going to try and chase it down. Hemo plays in. Flash, flip. Nuke takes down Onyx and backpack in the middle of the team, dancing around, but just nothing left to do as Lightman claims credit on the kill.